so bear with me. What I want you to start off with when you're doing any of the applications is reading the rules. The rules are your guidelines for what you need to include in those applications. Also, should you include your name, where to place your name, your ARBA number, how long can your application be? That's very important because there is a restriction on length, and if you don't follow that and you go over, then you do lose some points, and that can hurt a lot. So what is an application? It is your presentation of yourself. It is your first impression. It is your way of saying, this is what I do with this project. So you want your application to look very nice, want it to be very easy to read and understand. So formatting comes into play there, where you want to have it in a certain size font all the way through. You want certain, if you use PowerPoint, bullet points, you want to use bullet points all the way through. Spacing is important. So you don't want one page with space of double space and the next page single space. You want to be consistent throughout the whole application. For us, and this is part of the rules, they do ask you to write the questions down. That helps us to understand what you're answering and apply it to that question. So we can see that you're answering it and not answering a different question. But with where it plays into the formatting is set that question apart from your answer. Don't state the question and then just keep rattling on with your answer. And a graph or a chart can save you some space. Also, you can use that to condense. For example, if you are competing in prints, and you've competed in prints, say, in 2020, 2021 at your county fair, and you were runner-up both years, you can state that on one line. The next line, if you competed in prints in 22, and you won at county fair, and you also won at state fair, you could put that in one line. So you can condense by doing the same thing. Right there, we've eliminated 2 lines, and it's brief. You've stated your award, your achievement, in very simple fashion. So use effective headings when you're doing that. It doesn't have to be anything complex, kind of generic headings, so you can put anything in there. If you want to put show date, what type of show, what accomplishment, what achievement, what award you won. Then you can put anything in those boxes. Same thing if you're filling it out for your rabbits. You know, you can list your rabbits, what show, what award they won. Back to the rabbits, I see a lot of them, the names come up. I don't know what Fluffy is. I want to know what breed of rabbit, possibly what class you want. Maybe how many times you showed that rabbit that won that same class or that same show. Maybe it won Best in Show 4 times. You could list that rabbit. New Zealand, 6'8" doe, got Best in Show, and list the 4 shows. So that's a way of condensing again. If you're using photos, they're great, but they're very hard to put in the format in a perfect place. There's a lot of times where we see photos They're listed along the side of the application. And I find it hard to figure out what this photo goes with in relation to where the answers are. If possible, try to put them within that answer section. Again, it's hard to do because you're limited on space. Another thing that you can do is you can reference it within your paragraph. Photo 1. Put photo 1 underneath that photo. So we can go to it and say, yes, that matches. That looks great. When you're using photos, make them relate to the application. If you put on a workshop and you have photos of that, by all means, yes, that's perfect. If you want an award that you have pictures of, that you want prints, you have pictures of that, that's great. You're sitting around after a show, relaxing with friends, having brownies. Great! Happy you have all your friends, but that doesn't relate to the application. So make sure that your photos relate to your answers in your application. You don't have to have a lot of photos. You don't have to have any if you don't want to. It's just, that's a matter of choice. Okay, the next couple things are biggies. These are the most common mistakes that I see. Your application matters. Make sure you are submitting a royalty application for royalty. I see this every year. Somebody submitted the wrong application for whatever competition they're in. We can't really judge that very well because our rubrics are based on the royalty questions, the management questions, achievement questions. And while that application that was submitted may have been one of the best that was written, it's a big hit on points because it's the wrong application. So now you may think, okay, I have an application I've used for many years, I'll just submit that. You can. But it needs to be built on. It needs to be changed. It needs to be updated. If you don't use the current year's application, you may be missing some points on that because some of the questions may be in different numbers. Number 2 from last year might be number 5 this year. Also, some of the questions may have some wording differences. If you're not using the updated one, again, that's a big hit in points. So double check that. And when I say update, it's easy for us to tell when somebody says, I've been doing rabbits for 4 years since 2019. Now it's 2024. That's not 4 years, it's 5. So be sure you're looking for that. It's perfectly fine to use previous applications. You may need to take some things out to update for more current events, more important events that you've done. But once you have that application, it's perfectly fine to use it. Just make sure you're updating it. So grammar, spelling, punctuation, capitalization, it matters. There are some common things that I see that are simple words that are used the wrong way. The word to, T-O-T-O-O. T-O is a place. We're going to the restaurant. TOO is also. So I see those kind of mixed up a lot. There are some words or phrases that are overused. One of those is the word also. I also have done this, I have done this also, and also I have done this. Okay. Let's make it a little more interesting by using different words for also. You can say as well, in addition, I have done this too, TO. When you say I helped someone, again, overused. You can substitute that with different words as in I taught, I assisted, I facilitated, I served. You all have a great tool at your hands, most of you anyway. It's called a computer, and I bet you have all heard of Google. So, if you want to know a word that can be used instead of another word, Google it. It makes your application a little bit funner to read. It's a powerful word to change it into something that isn't the same throughout your application. It makes it more interesting. Commas can change the meaning of your sentence. I'm going to say a 5-word sentence to you. Jack said Bill hit him. Now that could mean Bill hit a third person, or Bill hit Jack. Jack said Bill hit him. That says Jack wants Bill to hit him. Jack said Bill hit him. Now Bill wants Jack to hit him. So you see the same 5 words had 4 different meanings, but there was a comma in there. Different places. So watch your commas and your meanings, because we can only read what you write. And it may not mean the same thing as what you think. So have somebody proofread your application for spelling, for grammar, punctuation, and any other suggestions. Question-wise, there's a lot of questions that, or some questions, I guess, not a lot, but there are a few questions that might be a little hard to answer. And that takes some preparation on your part. One of the questions that I know I see people struggling with is holding office. There are some reasons why people can't hold office. Not everybody can. But try to figure out, what can you do instead? Can you follow your secretary, sit and find out what that secretary is doing? How do you prepare a report for a secretary? What does the president do in your club? What's the position of the vice president? You could state that. You could say, I'm learning the different positions, instead of just saying, I can hold an office. If that's the case, say why you don't hold an office. Some clubs don't allow some of the members to hold office until a certain age. And that's okay. But there are other ways that you can come up with some of these questions and answers by preparing ahead of time. You have a community of opportunities. You can go to schools, you can go to daycare, you can go to senior centers, retail locations such as TSC or Rural Gang or your local feed mart, other animal type organizations. And you can do a presentation there. Just simply ask, hey, can I bring some rabbits when people come in and out? Maybe they can ask me questions, I can answer them. It doesn't take a lot. Senior centers are great places to go. So you can get some experience at how you are presenting your project. Another form of holding an office is, what can you do that really isn't technically like an office, but you could do health and safety. You could either do that at your meetings, or you could find someone to do it every meeting. Then you are in charge. That's kind of an office. Snacks. Hey, everybody loves snacks, so if you have a meeting, be in charge of having somebody sign up to bring snacks. You are still in charge. You are still promoting that position. So think of ways outside the box sometimes to answer those questions. And you have to work on that ahead of time, obviously. But those questions, especially the one of what you do to help promote the rabbits, is important. Some of those questions I see are kids struggle with. So if you don't have a club, you don't need a club. Go out and do your own thing. Volunteerism is important throughout your life, and if you can start now, it just gets easier. Achievements, when somebody asks you or the questions are about your achievements, they don't always just mean, hey, I won Best in Show, I was queen at State Fair, I was Duke at ARBA. Achievements are, you set a goal and you accomplished it. That might mean more to you than winning first place in any other thing. So that's another thing I see kids struggling with. If you haven't been in it long enough and you haven't won anything, what is the most proud moment in this project that you have? Did you build something? Did you save your money to buy a rabbit from a breeder that you waited a long time to get stock from? Did you finally get a litter out of the doe that was maybe your third time and she finally had a litter? Did you pass your breed ID test for the first time? Again, it doesn't matter if it's first place or last place, but how do you feel about yourself, your accomplishments? So think of your achievements a little differently than just first place, grand champion, Duke, Duchess, Princess, whatever. And list what is making you happy. Let's remember that that application is a reflection of you, and we want to see full answers. You need to tell us a little more completely about you, your project, what you've done. There's plenty of space most of the time to complete those answers. So take your time, fill them out, and it's your last chance, put it that way. I can't ask you a question about it. You can't tell me about it because we're not face to face. So that piece of paper that you're submitting or that application that we're reading is the only way that we can judge what you do in your project. So have fun with it, be proud of what you've done, and tell us all about you.